start. Good morning, class. Welcome to our session of food science and nutrition. In the last class, we were able to look at nutrients. And of course, today, I want us to look at something else, and this is food additives and food spoilage. These food additives are things that we add in food, and in the manner that we add them so that either they increase the shelf life, or they improve flavor of food, or they generally alter the physical appearance of food. Okay, there are those additives that are allowed by law, and some that were actually that had been there but were found to have caused maybe death to humans, and they were removed, like boric acid. Boric acid today is used as a cockroach killer. Like you give it to cockroaches, they eat, they get cement in their, like something like cement in their stomach, and they die. And that is what it was doing to humans. So of course, if you're eating food that is that had boric acid, that cement will start getting into the body little by little, and then in the end it will cause damage and of course death, because if it creates something like semitic inside your stomach, then there's nothing that can be done, unless maybe you are saved by an operation like a surgery. Okay, so food additives are many. There are those that actually are natural and others that are artificial. They are made in the lab and they work. So those that are actually made in the mostly they have this identification. They have been given the letter E, capital E. So if anything that you see with capital E and then a number, it means that it is certified, it is recognized by laws all over the world that it can be used as an additive. Okay, so additives come in different kinds. We have so many categories. We have acidulants, we have fortifiers or nutritive additives, we have thickeners, we have sweeteners, humectants, all those. Okay, and we shall look at each one of them in a few. So the food additives are mostly used during the processing of food, some to give more nutrition, others to just change the physical, and others to increase the shelf life of food. So examples, let me share my screen so that you can be able to see them. Okay, so food additives, we said, are substances that are added to food for various reasons and may or may not be harmful to food or health. It is possible to divide additives into 4 main groups according to their functional properties. Those are now, like, why do we use food additives? We use them to alter the physical appearance of food or physical characteristics of food. You can also use it to use them to alter the sensory activities, the food's sensory characteristics. Then to alter its storage life, like to improve shelf life or extend shelf life. And also number 4, to alter the nutritional status of food. So those are generally the main reasons why we actually add additives in food. We have different categories of food additives, and one of those, like we said, we have acidulants. Like you add acidity to food, and the common acidulants that you know are vinegar, citric acid from lemons, and then we also have tartaric acid, malic acid, fumaric acid, and lactic acid. Most of these are actually naturally found because, like lactic acid, you'll find it in milk, harvested from milk, citric acid from the lemons, vinegar from rice, wine, generally even red wine. You can get vinegar from that. So most of them are actually natural. Malic, I think, is found in potatoes, and it prevents gout. So when you eat these are roasts of meat with potatoes, you decrease the amount of cholesterol in the body because of the malic acid. Then you have acid regulators. These ones are used to control pH for stability or to affect activity of enzymes. So acidity regulators mean that if you have eaten food that is too acidic and it is not alkalized in the body, then the acid regulators are supposed to generally make sure that the pH is where it's supposed, especially during the processing of food. If during the processing some foods become very acidic, then the acid regulators will help the food to be alkaline. Then we have anti-caking agent. An anti-caking agent is anything that you add into food, like powdered food, to ensure that the food does not become lumpy or ikue mawe mawe. For example, maybe you have ever noted, if you ever bought garlic powder, ukikosa kuiweka vizuri inakuanga kamawe. Same with even maziwa ya unga. If you don't kufunika well and it stays for long, you may find that it will cake and become a stone, like something rocky. So the anti-caking agent is a powder that you will add in there so that it keeps your powders away from caking. Then we have anti-foaming and foaming agents. These reduce or prevent foaming in foods. And of course, like we add these foaming agents, especially in like whipped cream. The whipped cream that comes in precious sprayers, like it is inside mkebe that you unafinya kama ya doom and you have cream, yeah. So anti-foaming agents, you'll find them there. We also have antioxidants. Mostly this is vitamin C, vitamin E, and of course they are preservatives, and because they inhibit the degradation of fatty food. And of course, that means that they will prevent rancidity in mafuta, all manner of oils, whether they are trans fats, saturated or unsaturated. That vitamin C or E is going to help prevent that from happening. Another antioxidant is butylated hydroxytoluene, yeah. BHT. So those are antioxidants. Then you have bulking agents. Bulking agents are things that we add to add the bulk or maybe the structure of the food. Like starch can be added to increase the bulk of a food without affecting its taste. We also have colorings. Colorings are added to replace colors lost during baby preparation or to make food look more attractive. We have the natural colors there, like cochineal, caramel, saffron. Saffron is from flowers. Caramel can be gotten from sugar. You just brown sugar on the stove. You melt it, and then you let it to have color, and it will definitely give your food color. So caramel and cochineal. Cochineal is also extracted from a plant. Okay, then we have fortifying agents. Fortifying agents or nutritive additives. Here we add vitamin, minerals, and dietary supplements to food to make it more nutritive. For example, you can add vitamins like C, and you can also add iron or calcium to breakfast cereals, because actually most breakfast cereals are made from very refined flours. And then you can also add vitamin A and D to margarine, so that gives you the goodness of butter. We also have color retention agents. Color retention agents generally, they are more just like colors, but of course, mostly these are artificial. So in contrast to colorings, these ones are used to preserve a food's existing color. Then we have emulsifiers. Emulsifiers will allow water and oils to remain mixed together.
You are
So
currently
they
the
will
only
not
person
separate.
in this conference.
They will not disappear. So then we have examples of these, like we have and glycerol monostearate. They help us to bind mayonnaise and ice cream and such other ingredients together, even homogenized milk. Okay, then we have flavors. These are additives that give food a particular taste or smell and may be derived from natural ingredients or created artificially. We also have flavor enhancers that enhance a food's existing flavor. Example, one of the most popular is Ajinomoto, or what we call monosodium glutamate. It makes foods have a meaty flavor. Okay, then we have flour treatment agents. Flour agents. Flour improvers. We have vitamin C, because it helps to strengthen the gluten in the unga, the gluten strands in the unga. But even as we add that vitamin C, it is also going to be like fortification for that flour. Remember, we talked of fortifying agents being added to improve the nutritive value of food. Then we have glazing agents. Glazing agents help food to have a shiny appearance or protective coating. So generally, glazing agents come in different forms. We can have them as syrups. We can have them as You can have them as syrups. You can also have them as caramels. You can have them as washes, like barn wash. Then we have humectants. Humectants prevent food from going out, like cakes, like the rich fruit cake. You can add glycerin inside the flour batter, just to make sure that the cake remains very moist. And then you can also use it in some icings, like royal icing. When you're making royal icing, you add a few drops of glycerin to make sure that it remains very, very moist. And then it will, until when you are done with it, and you can now leave it to dry. Then we have tracer gas. Tracer gas are gases that maybe that are used to pack food. So they allow for package integrity testing to prevent foods from being exposed to atmosphere, thus guaranteeing shelf life. So there's something we call modified atmospheric packaging, and that is where we actually use the tracer gas. So there are those gases that you remove, like oxygen, and add nitrogen into the package, so that the food does not go bad. Then we have preservatives. Preservatives are those things that we put in food to maybe increase the shelf life, or to prevent the attack of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms in the food. Now, preservatives that we know or use are salt, sugar, alcohol, and vinegar. We also can use synthetic ones like vitamin C again. All right, then we have stabilizers. Stabilizers, thickeners and gelling agents like agar, pectin. All those are very natural. They give food a firmer texture. They are not true emulsifiers. They don't really emulsify the food, but they help to stabilize emulsions. Okay, so you can find them in the making of yogurts and maziwa mala. Then we have sweeteners. Sweeteners actually are things that we add, that are added to food to make it sweet, like the sugar are made for the diabetics, and of course they are 100% artificial. Of course, they're supposed to be used in very small amounts, because the sweetening in them is too high. Examples of these we have are saccharin. We also have sorbitol, and we also have aspartame. If you look at, if you know any diabetic that uses those sugars, and you look at the packet, you will actually see any of these terms. Some other things like these gums, chewing gums that we eat, like dentine. They say sugar-free gum. And of course, if you look at, if you eat the gum, it is not sugar-free. Like, you will find that it is sweet. It is not just something without sugar that you're going to chew. It has sugar, and the sugar-free, the sugar-free that they are calling is because whatever sugar they have used is artificial, and it has no calories in it. So that is saccharin, or aspartame. Then we have thickeners. Thickeners are agents that are added to food to increase its viscosity, like when you're making things like jam and such, and pastilage, or easy, like, what do you call them? Like fondant for making cakes or for covering cakes. Then you have those thickeners there. Most of these that are the examples that have been given there are actually very, very natural. Like gelatin, we get it from bones. When you boil bones, and you get that liquid, and then you dry it, like evaporate the water, what you get is gelatin. It looks like sugar, but has no taste at all. Then you have agar-agar from the sea. Those are some plants that actually float in the sea, and of course they have some thing that they call agar-agar, which is more or less like a gum, so it will thicken. Then we have vegetable gum, like gum tragacan. This one. Gum tragacan also is used in the making of fondant. Is also used in the making of chewing gum. You'll find it in chewing gum together with wax. Okay. They are used for pastilles.
The only person in this conference.
And of course, we have pectins. Pectins are mostly found in fruits. And of course, they can be made in the laboratory and used in food processing. Then we have polyphosphates. Polyphosphates, actually, it's a compound that is actually injected into chicken before they are slaughtered, so that you reduce the muscle stiffening. Okay, so it binds water to the muscle, and that prevents drip, giving your meat a firmer structure. So they are injected into poultry before they are slaughtered. Then we have any other additives, and here you can find that even anti-caking agents have been included there in the miscellaneous additives. So those are the kind of things that you find. We have farming agents also. They are added to tinned fruits and vegetables to prevent too much softening in the processing. We also have mineral oils that we use in masking dried fruits to prevent them from sticking to one another. Yes. So now, how to identify the additives? So the food additives under the Food and Drug Administration Act they have given the additives each an identification for each one of them, and we find that we use E, capital E, to depict that is an additive, and that it is recognized by law. Then it is given another number like 260 there. So like acetic acid is written as E260. So even if they don't give the word acetic acid, then if you see E260, you will, and you already know them, you will know that this is acetic acid. So I'll give some examples there, like sorbic acid, benzoic acid, sulfur dioxide, potassium nitrate, ascorbic acid, then propyl gallate, and butylated hydroxyl also used in stock cubes. So all of them, because that each one has a number E and a number E and a number. Okay, so that is how you're able to you are supposed to identify the food additives. Okay, I think we are done with food additives. I think what I would also say is that food additives can be have have had safety issues. They have had safety issues at some point, and that was that has been mitigated, and of course those that have been harmful, they have been removed. For example, had boric acid removed from usage. We also have saffron that was used in root beers, and it was found to actually to cause cancer, so it was also lifted. And if it is being used in any place, then it means that maybe they are just not following laws, or maybe their countries are not bound by the laws that remove them from refuse their usage. Okay, so then we can go on ahead and look at food spoilage, unless we have any questions. Do you have any questions? I don't understand. Why do you say you can't get me?
Network ilikuwa yaleta shida, so kuna part sikuwa nimekuget.
Oh, okay. I think you will be able to get it from the notes. I mean, from the video. So then we continue and look at food spoilage. Food spoilage generally talks about how food gets bad, and food spoilage is different from food poisoning. Although some of the causes of food spoilage can cause food poisoning, we can actually have food going bad, or rather changing its taste or appearance, and you don't just like the taste. Not that it is bad or anything, but the way it tastes, the way it looks, just gives you that aversion to the food. So we go on ahead and look at what food spoilage is, and what causes food spoilage. Okay, so if you don't keep food in the right way, of course food is going to deteriorate. For example, all foods have enzymes, and these enzymes continue their action in the body. They continue their action in the body. We have looked at enzymes, and we saw that they are catalysts, and they are proteiners in nature. So they will continue with their action as long as that food is there. And of course, because they are sensitive to temperature and pH, if you don't put them in the right, maybe in the fridge or in the freezer, then that enzyme reaction continues to take place, and the food is going to go bad. Like an example of bananas. If you have a ripe banana, alafu you just place it maybe on a dish and put it on top of your dining table, and then you don't eat it in a good time, it will start having black spots, little black spots. Then the following day, the black spots will be even bigger. Then the next day, the banana will be even black. And if you touch the banana, it will be too soft. You cannot even be able to eat it. So that is not, it is, whatever is happening is that the enzymes for ripening the banana continue to increase and continue doing their action, and of course that is what is going to bring the banana down. And it happens for all fruits. Even an apple, you put it there, it will continue ripening, it will go flaccid in the end. Okay, so then we have that is chemical generally, because enzymes in this case are chemical. Then we have microbial spoilage, where we now are looking at microorganisms that cause food spoilage. And here we are looking at so many. We are looking at yeasts, we are looking at bacteria, we are looking at molds, and what they can, what kind of problems they will cause in food. For example, if you have ever seen stale bread, I'm sure you have seen stale bread. Have you seen stale bread, Tabitha?
Yes.
Yes. How does it look? Stale bread looks like how? Tabitha? Okay. Stale bread generally has hairy structures that look greenish or gray bread, and then they smell funny. They have a musky smell. And if you take a bite of that bread, the taste is so bad, is so pungent in the mouth that you cannot be able to swallow that bread. Okay, so you know when you start seeing those things on bread that you throw the bread so fast, isn't it? Yes. So that is stale bread, and of course those are microorganisms. Those are actually molds that are growing on top of that bread. Okay, so we can go back. So we have molds. Into so we start by looking at microbial that's actually cause spoilage, and that is one mold. We have molds. They appear like whiskers on food or hairy structures, and this can be found in mostly sweet foods, meat, and cheese. Okay, and of course you can find them also in fruits. Like in this case here, you can see these ones have yeast and molds. Okay, so they tend to make the food taste bad and look also, the appearance of the food. Then some of them are disease causing, and of course we call them spores. And those ones can only be removed by pressure cooking of the food, so that you can increase the temperatures, so that can be able to kill those spores. So some are not harmful, and some are not. Okay, then we have the yeast or fungi, like what we find in the yeast that we use in baking and making of beer. They are single cell plants, and of course they can actually grow on food that contain sugar and moisture. Okay, foods containing only a small percentage of sugar and a large percentage of liquid, especially fruits and syrups, will actually ferment because of the yeasts in the inside there. Like if you make fruit juice, like pineapple juice, and put it in the fridge, if you don't take it with maybe within a day, you'll find that at the top there are some whitish hairy structures, and that is the yeast that has started growing in there. They rarely cause disease, but of course they tend to change to alter the taste of the food. Okay, all right. They can be destroyed by heat also, so generally you can be able to remove them by heating or boiling of food. More of these, we have bacteria, microbial spoilage. You also have bacteria. These are minute plants or organisms requiring moist and warm conditions to thrive or to reproduce. They spoil food by attacking it and leaving waste products. And of course, those waste products actually are pathogenic, may cause disease. They can also produce poisons and leave it in the food. So we have toxins in food. Examples we can actually have here are things like aflatoxin in maize or cereals. So they tend to have to leave toxins in the food that can actually cause death. You can check their growth by refrigerating the food or heating or heat treating the food, or even complete drying of food, especially cereals. Before you put them in sacks for storage, you make sure that they are very dry. Okay, you can also be able to destroy heat resistant bacteria by pressure cooking again, where the spores will not be able to withstand the heat and pressure, because pressure generally tends to increase temperatures. And because those very harmful spores cannot die at the temperature of 100 degrees centigrade, then you need to use a pressure cooker so that it can raise the temperature to more than 100, so that the bacterial spores can actually be destroyed. Okay, acids are generally capable of destroying bacteria, so you can also add vinegar and maybe even lemon juice or lime juice in some foods, so that the bacteria will not be able to grow. You also talked of dehydrating food, like drying the food in the right way. So if you don't cook your food thoroughly, like when you do your food rare, or sometimes you use milk when it is raw, then you may find that it is going to bring you problems, and that those problems can actually cause disease, like brucella comes from milk, and of course it actually is now food poisoning. So bacteria cause food poisoning, even when they taste and the appearance of food. They still also cause food poisoning. The same as protozoa, they also cause food poisoning. Okay, so those are generally the microbial spoilage issues that we may find there. Then we go on and look at causes, methods of preservation to prevent food spoilage. I'm sorry, I did not put that on. Here we have freezing, we have boiling, salting, sweetening, dehydration, and canning, and other methods right there. So there we have freezing. That is keeping in the refrigerator under very, very, very cold conditions. And then we have boiling, like that is heating to kill germs. Then we have salting to increase the osmotic potential. Then we have sweetening, generally works the same as salting, because generally it increases the osmotic potential or pressure. Then we have dehydration, that is the removal of moisture from the food. Other methods of preservation are we talked about gas storage, using rays of the electromagnetic rays, and smoking, vacuum packing, all those industrial methods of preservation that we find there. So here we have other methods of food preservation, like using rays or radiation. Then chemical means, of course, we have talked about salting and pickling. Then we have vacuum packing, smoking, Smoking generally puts some chemicals like formaldehyde in the food, and they mask the bacteria. They make it very hard for any microorganisms to be able to survive there, because they will not be able to access oxygen, and therefore they die. So smoking was used even a long time ago by the old man, the first, to generally preserve food, and even today it is still being used in some foods like bacon. Then we have chemicals, using chemicals to preserve food, and we also have gas storage. We talked about tracer gas, and we also have that is generally what we call more modified atmospheric packaging. So spoilage of food can be prevented. We can prevent it by storing our food in the fridge or freezing it. We can destroy them by heating, that is like boiling, by adding salt, by adding sugar, so chemical means there. We can also crystallize, like crystallizing of fruits. We can do that, and when we crystallize them, that is means that we coat them with a layer of sugar that imejishikilia, so they will not go bad. Then we have vacuum packing. Vacuum packing means we do not, the food is packed any air inside there, and generally the air we are trying to get rid of sana is oxygen, because oxygen supports life. So vacuum packing means there is no air. And I'll give you a very good example of smokies. If you buy a packet of smoky, the packet looks so small, I mean, so tight. But the moment you are able to fungua that, I mean, like cut the pack, hewa ingie, you notice that there's a lot of space that can actually spark so many other sausage, I mean, smokies inside there. So that is vacuum packing. Even yeast is vacuum packed. If you see a packet of yeast, it is so tight, even the granules are so hard. But the moment you cut it, the air gets in it, the packet becomes bigger, and the yeast cells are more free, so you cannot feel the hardness anymore. Okay, so those are generally the other methods of storing, preserving food from food spoilage. So we have seen that food can be destroyed by a number of things. Chemical spoilage can be, we said, can be caused by enzymes. Enzymes happen to be present in food naturally, because that is even in human beings. We see that we also have enzymes that help in all the body metabolisms, and generally even in food you'll find these things there. So they will continue their action, and the action may deteriorate the food that we eat. Okay, so I think that's it, unless maybe you have any questions, Tabitha.
I don't have a question.
You don't have a question? Okay, so can we revert to charts? Go back and you'll find a chart in the dashboard, and we can continue there.